I'm Myke Shrews.
And I'm Tivis.
And you're listening to
The Munster Cast.
Episode 29. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Munster Cast, the podcast where we watch and talk about the Munsters. How you doing today, Tivis?
No, I'm doing pretty good. We just watched the trailer, or the teaser, I should say, that dropped.
Yes.
Recorded a little reaction video that took a bit more time than it should have.
Yes, and everybody can go and check out on YouTube and or Facebook. We'll probably drop links on some of the other socials before this even comes out anyways. You can check out our little reaction video or little 5-minute talk, I guess, about the trailer as well.
Was it even 5 minutes?
I don't even know anymore.
It's short, whatever it was.
It took longer to get it to work than it did to actually talk about.
Yeah, about 8 times as long.
Do we want to talk about it real quick here too, just for those people who don't go and watch
it looks great.
Yeah,
first look looks good. Can't wait to see more in the actual trailer. Actually, I don't know, I'm on the fence. I don't know if I want to watch the trailer or not. I probably will because of this show.
Yeah
But the less I know, well, I mean, we know every character that's going to be in anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah,
I normally don't for things, but I'll do it for this.
This is like Rob Zombie's done the opposite of Marvel, and every cameo he's just told this about anyways. So he's just like, no, we don't care. You're gonna come and see it, or you're not gonna see it. It doesn't matter if you know who's in there or not. Yeah, I'm interested to see how it goes. I'll watch the trailer for sure. I'm hopefully we'll get a full trailer within the next month or so. That's generally how they do it. After a teaser drops, about a month or two later, they'll drop a full-fledged trailer.
Yeah, which would line up pretty well with Comic-Con, as I've been saying.
Yeah. This one was really cool. If as for the people who are watching along with us, we're on season 2 now, and we've talked about the season 2 intro, and they actually do a nice
recreation of it.
Yeah. Recreation and homage to the season 2 trailer intro, or season 2 intro. Sorry. So I'm excited to see it and see how the characters interact, because we only get to hear Grandpa speak in this a little so.
And we're still missing 2 of them.
Yeah, we're still missing 2. Tivis is getting a little anxious there.
Yeah, I was getting a little annoyed.
Yeah, so definitely check that out, whether you check our video out, which we would love and appreciate, or if you just check out the teaser if you have not yet done so.
Mm-hmm. And it was shared to Entertainment Weekly. I'm sure there's we watched another leak on YouTube, so I'm sure there's gonna be all over there if you want to wait for one of the official promotion sites to put it up. But yeah, hopefully
we saw the proper one. I think it was the proper one. It seemed
that was the proper one,
a legit one. Okay, yeah. So definitely check that out. And in the other time that you're on the internet, you can find the Munster Cast at Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube, all via the Munster Cast. You can also email.
I dropped my fidget.
You can also email us at themunstercast@outlook.com. Any of your questions, concerns, if you want to be a guest, if you want to recommend a guest come on that you know personally, that we can book and stuff like that. Or if you want to tell us your Munsters stories, your fandom, all those things, or even if you have Munster fan fiction, because I have found a ton of Munsters fan fiction out there, and I want to read some of these on the show when we have some extra time one of these days. So definitely.
That's a slippery slope. And I just accidentally punched my mic. That's going to sound great. Sorry.
Why's that a slippery slope?
Fan fiction.
Well, I mean, like proper fan fiction, not like perverse fan fiction crap like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm interested to see what everybody out there has to tell us about the Munsters as we gear up and going into the movie, the bigger movie anyways. Of course, we didn't start this podcast because of the movie. We actually wanted to do this before we heard Rob Zombie was even doing the movie, which is
we bought the box set a full year and a half before we started recording, and we've been talking about it since we bought that.
Yeah. But yeah, so I just want to thank everyone again for being able to stick on this journey with us. I know this isn't the end of the show. We haven't even started yet, but I want to thank everyone. And I'm looking forward to a fan base too that grows for the Munsters and maybe our show.
It's going to be so nice to have more people to talk to about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially because you'll have like people who don't know the Munsters, but know Rob Zombie and just will watch his works regardless of a PG rating or not, hopefully, and you'll get more Munster fans that way. You'll get more kids into the Munsters. Hopefully Universal does like I said, a Munsters cartoon or something later down the road too. So that's the best way to grow your franchise right there.
Yeah.
So it worked for the Addams family. The Addams family. No, it worked for the Addams family back in the day with their animation in the 90s. So yeah. All right. Well, with that said, Tivis, should we jump into this week's episodes?
All right. So first up, we got The Treasure of Mockingbird Heights, Season 2, Episode 14, aired December 23rd, 1965. We are almost out of 1965, Myke. Yeah. This was written by George Tibbles with Norm Lehman and Ed Haas, involved as produced, directed by Charles R. Oh boy. Rodendeu.
I don't have IMDb open, so I can't help you with that.
This is his only Munsters episode, but he has worked on other shows, including Rawhide, Batman, The Partridge Family, Wonder Woman, and BJ and the Bear.
Okay.
This episode has 0 guests in it, so that was quick.
Yeah, that was like my first note for this episode was 0 guests, and it was kind of nice to just be with the family for one episode after having 2 full guest episodes, actually like 3 in a row with just like nonstop guests after guest after guest. And sometimes like with the episode where Herman went to go get his license, it was like the one driver's ed guy like kind of overshadowed Fred and Al. I thought because of like the way he was. So yeah. What do you got for us? Anything else on anything since there are no guests for this episode?
No, that's it for me. Move on to the synopsis.
The Treasure of Mockingbird Heights, December 23rd, 1965. 2 days before Christmas, as Tivis previously stated. While searching for a fuse box in the dungeon, Herman and Grandpa discover a secret chamber and a clue to the pirate treasure hidden on the Munsters' property. Upon finding the treasure, they end up fighting over its ownership, and Lily has to intervene. Dun, dun, dun. I wish I had more of a radio voice to read these synopsises for.
They found a treasure.
That's NPR. we don't want to put people to sleep with NPR voice. All right. So do we want to start off with this here? So all right, my first note was, of course, no guess, which is cool.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, there's a storm outside and Lily comes down with a candle and she enters the living room where Marilyn asks if there's any luck getting the power back on as she stokes the fire. And Lily says, Herman and Grandpa are on it. Yeah, who needs to worry with those two on the case? She then moves over to Eddie, who's nearby. Eddie's like, I'm just finishing my homework in the dark. And she's like, good boy. And she hopes they get the power back on in time for Grandpa's favorite operation on Dr. Kildare, which for anyone who doesn't know, this was an actual show that well, first it was a TV series or a movie series, I guess, by MGM, but the TV series started in 1961.
Mm-hmm.
And so, another little promotion for their products.
Cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
By Richard Chamberlain. Ooh, nice. Okay. Sorry.
That's fine. It honestly looks like an interesting series if anyone wants to check that out. But we switch down to the basement where Grandpa and Herman are feeling their way around the dungeon with lanterns, and Herman's hand brushes against this carving of a lizard on the wall, and he freaks out. Grandpa's like, "It's just that carving of a lizard that's always been there. We all know about it. Stop."
Yeah.
Ooh. So, Herman calls it dumb and sticks his tongue out in true Herman fashion, and they continue on until Herman's hand finds a panel that opens a secret door.
And he pushes one of the stones on the wall.
Yeah. So Herman goes through it because, I mean, why wouldn't you? And Grandpa is real upset that Herman's just gone on him. He's like, what the heck? You're supposed to be helping me find this light switch or fuse box. So he's like yelling for him, and Herman's like, "I'm behind the wall." So Grandpa's like banging on the wall. "Behind here?" So he starts smacking the wall looking for the thing to open it. He opens it. "You're in here?" So he's like, at first it sounds like he's concerned, a bit distressed that Herman found this room. And then you find a bunch of torture equipment in there, and you're like, "Oh no, 50 Shades of Grey."
I did not think that at all, but okay.
Yeah, Herman's like, "Why didn't you tell me about this hobby room of yours?" And Grandpa's like, "I've never seen this room in my life."
Yeah, I'm surprised that they haven't found all these rooms. You would think that Grandpa would know the dungeon like left and right, like back and front, everything,
Yeah. But yeah, I just found it. It's like, what is this? And he tells her, Herman, he's like, "Look, this house was built on an old fort, wasn't it? This must be the dungeon where they kept prisoners." And Herman's like, "Yeah, well, there's some writing on the wall over there, but could you go ahead and read it in case there's a naughty word?"
It's a naughty word over there. Yeah.
So the wall says,
"He's a child still," which is awesome, man.
He is. He's kept his innocence so well.
Until the next episode that we talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, don't forget last time we saw him, he was giving them all brown cupcakes to get revenge.
Yeah.
So the wall says, "Morgan's treasure in this valley. Look behind the noble Sally."
Yeah.
And Herman's like, that's a nice poem. Grandpa goes, "Wait, is this Morgan the pirate? Is this gold buried here?" And they both get extremely excited about this possibility. I believe that's when we cut to the intro.
Yeah, that's to the intro, and then we come back and they're reading out of the book,
Ancient Pirates and Buccaneers, a revised edition.
Yeah,
and they're going through all the pirates. We got Bluebeard, Long John Silver's, which, fun fact, my grandma used to put on a car show, or not the car show, but a parade for their small village.
Mm-hmm.
And when she wanted to get sponsors, she would pester them until she got sponsors. She wanted Long John Silver's because they had just opened a new one in the nearby area. They're like, "We don't have anything to show." She kept calling to the point where they came up with a mascot. This mascot is buried because it is a terrifying monstrosity that the company never wants to see the light of day. If you can find it, know that my grandma is responsible for that nightmare.
Also, I would like to point out too, Bluebeard was a fairy tale. It wasn't an actual
I know. Yeah.
person.
That's one other one. I'm sure they all have, fictitious origins.
Yeah.
I forget the middle one, but those are the two that stuck out to me.
Wasn't Bluebeard like the one who like killed like all of his lovers all the time? And it was like a very dark story, I believe. And I thought it was Bluebeard.
Probably, yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's where he kept killing his wives.
He kept killing his wives. He would stack them in one room, and then he would kill the next one and next one.
Yeah. So they're going through the book. He's like, Captain Morgan. Was the vodka brand around this time?
Vodka brand? You mean Captain Morgan?
Yeah, isn't that a vodka? I don't drink.
I don't know when Captain Morgan brand came about, but I can.
All right, well, while you're looking that up, yeah, I put you to work. So, Morgan,
1944.
Okay, that's maybe it was a sponsorship. So Morgan visited Mockingbird Valley, which, remember, this was in the California.
Captain Morgan wasn't a pirate, though. Was he?
Yeah, he was a pirate.
No, in this it was, but on the Captain Morgan alcohol, the rum, I didn't think he was supposed to be a pirate.
He looks like a pirate.
I'm gonna look into that one. Why would you want to drink? I guess you want to drink what the pirates drink because the pirates had the good shit.
Yeah, but yeah. So Morgan visited Mockingbird Valley in 1672, which the Louisiana Purchase wasn't for another 150 years. So, and they visited there while fighting the Spanish Navy. So, this gets them even more excited about the possibility that there's some Spanish doubloons buried.
I got to do this.
All right.
So Captain Morgan rum is actually named after a 17th
it's rum.
Century,
okay.
It's named after a 17th century Welsh privateer. Privateer.
Yeah. Actually,
Caribbean.
This is
he is Jack Sparrow.
Sir Henry Morgan, the Welsh privateer.
Yeah.
Who he was part-time maritime warfare under commission law. He took part in, was also a landowner and lieutenant governor of Jamaica. Yep. The 1960 Morgan the Pirate was an inspiration by his life. So both of these are based on the same
guy.
And now I lost my place because I went down to my trivia. So yeah, they get excited. Marilyn. Okay, so we're in Lily and Herman's room. Marilyn's bringing Lily some tea, and Lily's like, "So, do you see Herman and Grandpa outside?" And I'm assuming the power's back on by now because it looks more lit up and they're able to walk around easy. We never see them find the fuse box. Also, Grandpa and Herman read a book. It's pretty hard to do in a dungeon without light, and I didn't see any candles. But
she also makes a Titanic joke here.
Yes, she does.
And I was like, wait, so this was 65, so 1912 to 65. I was like, too soon, Lily, too soon.
Oh yeah. Lily's like worried that they're up to something because they keep themselves locked in the dungeon all day. And Marilyn confirms this, but it's bolted from the inside. And she's like, the last time they were this sneaky, Grandpa tried to get his own license from the Federal Reserve to open his own blood bank. So now we cut back to Grandpa and Herman where they're puzzling over the clue on the wall. And this is a great scene, by the way. Herman is mimicking Grandpa as, they ponder the question, and Herman suggests they call a random girl named Sally. Grandpa's like, shut up.
This whole episode is like perfect Al Lewis and Fred Gwynn like teamwork and acting right here.
Oh, it really is.
Good.
So Grandpa like continues, he's thinking, rubbing his head. He starts walking. Herman is still mimicking him. As Grandpa turns around to pace, he bumps into Herman and tells him, "Will you stop this or that before someone gets hurt, namely me?" Then Grandpa stares at the lizard on the wall and, "Sally, of course, it means salamander.
And
Quick."
But when he told Herman to stop it, he wasn't meaning stop pacing. He meant stop thinking.
Oh, I thought he was telling him to stop mimicking him because he's like in the way.
Because Herman's like, I'm just thinking. He's like, would you stop it before somebody gets hurt? Like, that's how I took it. It's like he meant stop thinking. Just stop.
It's entirely possible too. Yeah. So, and I like how Al Lewis's delivery of the lines here. He kind of stumbles over and like messes it up, but it only adds to the excitement that you feel from Grandpa. So it's like, "Herman, grab that, yank it off the wall." So Herman's like, "All right." Grabs the salamander, starts pulling the brick from the wall, and they find a little hole, what is it, cubby behind it with another note.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Goonies for the Munsters.
Yes.
Like clue after clue after clue.
So Grandpa like unfolds the note. It's a pirate map. And Herman's like, "How do you know?" "Because everything's misspelled." Which I thought was a funny little joke, but actually comes back later. So they're like, "Look, there's the river that goes through town, in the hill behind our house, in the boulder in the backyard." This episode is great because we get to see more of their backyard, which we have barely seen since probably the first couple episodes where we see their barbed wire fence.
Yeah, because when they go into the backyard and stuff, I'm like, are they in the backyard or like woods? It wasn't until you look deeper back where you can see like their fence and stuff, like their brick fence, and I was like, okay, there's the backyard, or is it a cemetery? I was like confused for a minute. I was like, is this a backyard? Zoos look really big.
Yeah. They both get real excited, treasure again, start leaping up and down, joy. Lily is in the bedroom again. Maybe earlier wasn't in the bedroom. I may be confusing the two scenes. But Lily's in the bedroom this time, staring out the window at the boys in the yard with shovels and pickaxes. And they must have told her what's up because she gets talking to Marilyn about it. Marilyn's like,
yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. Dry spot. She's like, "There could be some truth to the story. My history professor told us in class, pirates were in the area." Lily's still skeptical. She's, "Herman just doesn't have that kind of luck. We had to cancel our Titanic, being on the Titanic because he couldn't get the time off work."
Yeah. That's when they did the Titanic joke. Yeah. Okay. I remember there was somewhere around there when they were talking.
Yeah. Yeah. They're so quick too. Those two scenes blur together.
Yeah.
But,
and because most of this time we're with Herman and Grandpa anyways, so all the other stuff kind of blurs in.
Yeah. This is a very Herman Grandpa centric story.
Yeah.
So they're following the map in the backyard and they get stuck because it says onk. It's like, what the heck is an onk? It's like, "Herman, it's oak."
And he's like, "Oh, crap."
Of course. Yeah. Wait a minute. We got this tree, this tree, this tree, this tree. There's no oak.
He says like all the other plants and everything. Like he's in like poison ivy, this and this, and it's like there's no oak in ever. So
they sit down on a tree stump, looking very dejected, and Herman says this line that I'm going to read verbatim. Okay. I turned subtitles on, so I made sure I caught it. I don't know what it means, but it concerns me. "Somewhere over the rainbow, there's a bluebird of happiness waiting for the Robert E. Lee."
Somewhere over the rainbow, there's a bluebird of happiness waiting for the Robert E. Lee.
Yep.
I don't know.
I don't know what it means.
I'm going to look it up later, but if any of our listeners might know the meaning of that, or if it's just Herman, saying something stupid.
Yeah.
I would like to know. That'd be kind of cool.
So Marilyn calls Lily over to the window. She's like, hey, come look at him now. And you just look at this aerial shot of both of them sitting there, like looking so unhappy and miserable. And she's like, it's so nice to see them getting along. Like, do you not see what they're doing? All right. So Lily's like, in the old country, a father-in-law would be at his son-in-law's neck by now, which they are constantly, Lily. Where are you living? So she's like, perhaps it's nice that they did find that treasure together after all. Yeah, she's not even concerned about the well. She's just like, they're getting along. This is great. So Herman's like, so the map's fake then, huh? And Grandpa's like, looks at him like seems like he's about to make a snappy remark as Eddie comes skipping into the clearing. He's like, why are you guys sitting on that stump? And they look at him. They look like they're about to answer. And then they both get oh, wait, stump. They get up and stare at us. It's an oak stump.
And this was literally the only reason Eddie was in this entire thing right here.
Yeah. Because what happens next is like, hey, can I watch you guys find the treasure? And Herman's like, no, get out of here.
Go.
Which is weird because after they do find the treasure, he calls his family out immediately.
Yeah.
So, they walk the 8 good man paces, I think is what they call it, from the oak tree. And Eddie is real mad as he's leaving, and Grandpa's real proud of this. He's like, I love my spoiled grandson.
He Butch was like pretty cool with this because he got like into it, being pissed off when he's like
smacking the bushes.
Woof got stuck for a second on one of the bushes, and he just kept going like a champ. I was like, that's awesome. Like, he actually pulled it off to make it look legit, like pissed off.
Yeah, he did. There's some great performances in this episode.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, they find Herman loses count of his steps at one point, and Grandpa like smacks him and continues counting. He's like, just say what I'm saying. So they get to the spot. Grandpa runs to get the shovels and pickaxes. Herman just starts digging like a dog into the and they speed this up like Benny Hill, and it's amazing. We eventually cut to them. Herman's buried, like the ground is at his ear level, which means Grandpa is well stuck in the hole.
Yeah.
And Herman hits something metal in the ground. And Grandpa's like, oh, you found it. So
totally thought this was going to be a septic tank, by the way.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be something weird too. Just lift me out of here. He climbs up Herman's back. This has to be a genuinely miserable scene for Fred with how much that he hated those prosthetics. They have a grown man climbing up them.
I mean, like they clearly did it in a way where he wasn't like pulling on Fred himself.
Still, like I thought he was going to give him like a lift with his shoe, but no, he climbs up him. So then Herman bends down, gets this chest, and he's like lifting it with his back, go up and down. It's like, no, it's too high, lower it. And I'm just looking at this and I'm like, oh man, I bet Fred had a real fun time filming this episode. And so they get it back up. They get it on, above ground. Finally, Herman rips the lock off. They lift it slowly, close it because they're like, oh, did you see that? Oh. They lift it again and see all the gold. He yells for his family. His neighbors have to hate him this day.
Yeah.
So they all come out, and Lily's like, oh my God, you found it. They're all like, they start dancing around it. Herman trips and falls back into the hole. again, poor Fred.
It was cool. Like, I was trying to see where they switched him out because they did this roundabout and then they came back around. You don't see Fred's face until he's down in the pit again. You see him fall. So I was trying to see where they might have switched him out. So I don't know if they actually switched Fred out.
I think it was, I think it was Fred.
Clearly there was a giant crash pad inside the pit.
Yeah, you could see it, but still.
But yeah. I was just like, did they really let him just fall down there?
And while he's in the hole, though, Lily grabs a bunch of the gold coins and chucks it down into there with him. And I'm like, what are you doing? Stop it. You're going to lose them.
They're all just throwing money everywhere, like all these coins everywhere. I'm like, wow. Okay. Yeah. So they cut to breakfast the next morning.
Yeah. Eddie is speed eating. And Grandpa's like, I'd love to see a kid wolf down their food. It's like, what are you rushing for? It's like, oh, I want to get to school early and boast about being rich. Liz like, no, we don't boast.
We've never boasted about any of our like, what would they say? Like, whatever their better attributes and shit like that.
Yeah.
I was like, being rich doesn't make you better though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Grandpa saying, what, did Herman leave for work early? Well, he's like, no, he's staying home today. Grandpa looks like, why? He's like, I don't know.
He just wanted to stay home.
Yeah. Grandpa's like got a cigar in his mouth. It just falls straight out. I gotta go to the dungeon. So, man,
runs down there and he makes sure Herman's not down in the dungeon.
Yeah, he's like looking
I really
around.
like the when he opened the door this time, though, he got a lot of smoke in the face in this episode.
He did.
Compared to when Herman opens it later. So he runs down there, make sure like Herman's not.
Before that, we get this comment from Marilyn.
Oh.
And she's like, I like that he's so concerned about the, our wealth. And Liz like, oh, that's not new. Back in the old country, he would always make sure to know who was watching the vault each night.
Yeah. So clearly they were like rich.
Yeah, that or Grandpa like killed people and stole from the family.
Yeah. Or to the vault for blood because vampires. So.
Hey, it could be that too. Yeah, in case any goes missing, he knows who to punish.
Yeah.
He is a Dracula after all. So yeah, he rushes down to the dungeon.
Yeah, he rushes down to the dungeon, checks Herman's not there. So he's like, oh, I guess he's not here. Whatever. Well, let me take a little peek anyways at the treasure. He opens it up. And I love this because before saying what happens, Herman learned from Grandpa when Grandpa set a little ropey trap thing for the one guy to throw him into the dungeon. Sorry.
Yeah.
So as Grandpa opens this, I saw the string and I was like, why is there a string on there? Oh, it's because it hits the string, which hits a axe, which drops a barrel right on the Grandpa, trapping him.
Yeah.
And then Herman like creeping out like from the corner of one little area like a little kid. Grandpa shouted something though as soon as it hit him. I wasn't sure if that was Grandpa saying that or Al because maybe he got hurt or something. I'm not sure.
That's a good question. Herman, like, he looks around the corner. He gets a real smug look on his face, which can you blame him with how much crap Grandpa has given him this past, 52 episodes or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, so he comes and he's like, I set a booby trap there for, why did I become Foghorn Leghorn for a second?
I say.
Yeah, I set that booby trap in case someone tried to steal our treasure. I had no idea you would be the booby.
It's a big booby.
Yeah, the look of just pure smug and joy that this trap went off on Grandpa, even if it wasn't meant for him, just really was a great, like, it conveyed a lot for Herman.
Yeah.
So we get to Herman in the living room reading the paper. And all of a sudden he drops it. He's looking around the room. He stares at the empty electric chair, Grandpa's favorite spot. He's like, someone's missing. Everyone, speak up. Who isn't here? and he's like, will you calm down? Grandpa's just in the dungeon. And he's like, our Grandpa's not here. So he's in the dungeon. It's fine. He's always down there. And Herman jumps up, rushes down, and Lily and Marilyn comments about how childish both Herman and Grandpa have been since they found the treasure. And Eddie's like, no, don't put this on us. I've never seen kids act that crazy. So in the dungeon, excuse me, in the dungeon, Herman's about to check the chest when he's like, wait, he might have booby trapped it. So he's like looking around, doesn't see anything. All right. So he slowly lifts the lid and he's staring at the gold like, oh, that's awesome. And then I love this. Grandpa's face pops out of the gold. He's like, I caught you. And they begin shouting at each other. Grandpa in the chest of gold, Herman outside of it. Just the face of Grandpa materializing out of the gold. Ha ha. Which, to be fair, I thought Herman was going to be in the box in the first scene, so I'm glad someone did it.
Yeah, there is. I wouldn't expect Herman to be in there because there's no way Al would have even fit his shoulder or Fred would fit his shoulder.
They would have to rig something up to make it look like it. But I mean, with this show, I wouldn't put it past him to do.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Let's be honest. This is basically a cartoon with just real actors. That's what this show is.
Oh yeah.
So, with actual physical actors, I should say, cartoons still had voice actors. They're real. They're not imaginary. So back in the living room, Lily is berating both of them because of their shouting match in the dungeon. Herman says that it's rightfully his as it was on his property. Now, we find out Grandpa provided the down payment. I don't know if it was in this scene or earlier on. So Grandpa.
It was, yeah, go on. You're right.
Yeah, Grandpa's like, oh yeah, let's see the deed to prove that. And Herman says, most of the mail that comes into the house is to Mr. Herman Munster. Any for you is addressed to care of Herman Munster. And Grandpa looks genuinely hurt by this comment.
Yeah.
He's like, are you calling me a freeloader? And Herman's like, no, I'm calling you a bum. This sets Grandpa off.
Yeah.
He's like, he's threatening to beat Herman up right there and then. And Herman's like, I'll charge you with trespassing.
This is when I started wondering. I was like, is the treasure like, are they going to do like a curse thing for the treasure? Like it's just, but no, it's just more of a greed thing instead.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with a curse, which
that'd be good though.
Yeah.
Lily begins shouting at him. He's like, hey, look, stop, both of you, just stop. Herman sticks his tongue out at Grandpa and Grandpa summons fire. In response, and Lily's like, would you put that fire out and behave?
and he had it going on for a while too. He was gonna like torch him.
Yeah, he was so she begins berating both of them more, and they bicker a little bit more until she yells again, and she's like, look, I want you both to promise not to go near the treasure without the other, which I'm like, Grandpa basically lives in the lab.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard.
The treasure should be put in the attic.
It really should. But then again, Grandpa sleeps up there sometimes. So Is there really any
everywhere?
Put it in the guest room next to Marilyn, or put it in Marilyn's room.
Grandpa sleeps in the kitchen. Grandpa probably sleeps in Marilyn's room. Who knows? He's a weird guy.
It's probably in everyone's closet at some point or another.
Okay. Wait. Before people say anything, I didn't mean like he sleeps with Marilyn, by the way. I just meant like he sleeps everywhere.
I knew what you meant.
Okay. Just clearing
I know
up.
what you hopefully they did too, but yeah, all right. So
I mean, I have made a lot of Lester jokes, so
you have, yes, you have. So I want you to shake hands on it, and Grandpa's like, fine, but I'm not shaking hands. And Herman's like, okay, but only if he hopes to spit. Which I don't get this reference. Do you?
Only if he hopes to spit.
Yeah,
like I don't know. It's hard to say for the 60s. I don't know.
Yeah.
We also make references way older than the 60s in here too. Sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure where that comes from.
And anyway, Grandpa's like, no, I'm not doing that. And Lily glares at him. Says, all right, I'll hope to spit in his eye. So at that moment, Eddie like floats down from the ceiling. And you could it was really well done, except you could just barely see the wires on the lamp if you look. And Lily's like, where did you come from? He's like, up there on my perch. That was an awesome fight.
And they all look up and they're like, what?
Yeah. I'm just imagining the pilot now where he was up above the fireplace. Yeah. He's just up there watching Grandpa almost set his father on fire.
Yeah.
That was so Herman innocently sticks tongue out. Grandpa, who we know has killed people, summons fire in retaliation.
So, okay, back to the spitting thing real quick. Was it Herman said that only if I spit?
No, hope to spit.
Only if I hope to. For Herman to spit or Grandpa to spit?
Grandpa.
Okay. I don't know. The only thing I found on here were spirits of the dead make men ill by spitting or blowing in their faces. But that's like an old shaman thing.
No. Okay. So that sounds like something Herman would be into. So,
anyways, yeah. The perch thing was kind of cool, and So then Herman and
Grandpa
thank you.
Yeah, they're like sneaking around the house towards the trap door, not noticing each other until they bump into each other. And in their surprise, they jump away and land in a couple bear traps. And in unison begin yelling. They look at each other. And the Raven's like, Lily, come and get him.
Yeah. That's all he says the whole episode. Like, Lily, they're here now, basically. Like, all right, you can come grab them. Can I go back to sleep now? Fucking lazy bird.
So, Lily and Marilyn are in the room now, and they're so unhappy to be woken up. Turns out she set the traps to catch them both because she knew that they wouldn't stick to their word. And she's like, well, you don't have to worry about the treasure any longer because we took it down and donated it to the rescue mission. And both of the men are like, what? You did what? And she's like, yeah, the man was so happy. They'll have enough money to feed or to have turkey dinners down there for 300 years. They're both.
So I have a question.
Yes.
But the real question is, did she actually donate it?
I believe her, yeah. Because she has not been interested in this money at all this entire episode.
Yeah, that's true.
I just noticed with my camera back so far, you could now see my wild hand gestures more.
Yeah, that's the best thing about the camera, man.
Yeah.
Maybe people watch our videos more.
Yeah, I don't know. Pretty sure the camera's the reason they're not watching our videos. So they're thinking this like, well, it's over. It's gone. So They apologize to each other and forget that they're in bear traps for a second as they try to hug.
Yeah.
And instantly get yanked. And I love that they remember that they're supposed to be trapped because they both go, ah.
Yeah.
So they shake hands instead.
Finally, a real handshake. Because the other one, Lily, like, kind of forced it.
They didn't even handshake.
She like grabbed their hands and tried to shove them together and stuff.
But Herman's like, I think it's important for us to remember this moment because we've all learned a lesson here. And if someone could get my leg out of this trap, I'll try and figure out what it is.
The lesson is, don't trust your wife with all the treasure.
Put it somewhere more secure.
Put it in a bank. I don't understand why they didn't just take it and, but again, that's I don't know. So my last note for this episode, real quick, because the episode ends after this scene here.
Yeah.
What's with them always giving away their winnings or any money they find or anything like that when they're supposedly living like paycheck to paycheck that Herman has to scare up all the time?
I know. Well, they did go from renters in the first episode to homeowners now, right. Even though apparently they've owned it for. Is he paying rent to Grandpa?
I don't know.
Are they the ones mooching off? The thing is, that line is so confusing, but they probably changed their mind partway through the series. So,
well, I think now that they're homeowners and not renters too, there's more expenses when you own a home than renting one. So I would feel they need more money because they're always worried about Herman getting a raise and stuff too. And yet they're always giving all this other money away. And so my other question in my note was, I wonder if they do it for the tax cuts. Could you imagine the tax breaks they get for giving away all this money they always give away?
Yeah.
Like they have to be like, Amazoning it with their tax cuts. They're not paying anything in taxes after this shit.
Yeah, I don't know. This was a fun episode just because, again, Fred and Al together, chemistry beyond measure.
It was a good time to see them in their characters. And then we also reverted back to Lily and Marilyn going back to like their companion piece rather than it being about getting Marilyn hitched again, which was nice.
Yeah. And we got to learn a bit more about the family and the house itself, which I really found interesting. And actually, my little bit of trivia I have left that I haven't shared already throughout this is before they began filming, the original address that they were going to use is 13 Friday Street.
Okay.
So
like Friday the 13th, yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad they changed it because 1313 Mockingbird Lane is a lot cooler.
It rolls off the tongue too. 13 Friday
it's
Street
just
kind of
way more memorable.
Yeah. Well, also 13 Friday Street would end up like it kind of would work both ways, honestly. I like that it's 1313 Mockingbird Lane in the show, but if they would have called it 13 Friday Street, then when people Google like Friday 13th to find Jason and shit, the Munsters would show up more. That's the only benefit there.
Yeah, but
in the future, not at the time they made this. I'm not stupid. I'm just saying, like thinking in retrospect now, like, it would make it a little easier to find and stuff for people that don't know the Munsters or anything like that.
Mm.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I like seeing Fred and Al get to do their duo stuff. I mean, we see them a lot doing their duo stuff, but this one was really heavily like it showed them being partners, it showed them being enemies, and it was pretty cool to see all the aspects of their relationship.
He's got Lily being peacekeeper.
Yeah.
Marilyn just around again, which Man, I wish they would give her character way more to do other than the episodes where she's trying to get hitched.
Yeah. And I
Or
love
they're trying to get her hitched.
Yeah. I love the line though, where they say, the father is always at the son-in-law's like neck in the old country. I'm like, yeah, it's cool.
Vampire joke.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, I enjoyed this episode. Do we have anything else for this specific one or no?
No, not this one. Just
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
I was just excited for the just getting the house and stuff. Again, I love getting some more background information about when they came to the country and stuff like that.
So they've had to do this to the breaker box before, I assume.
Oh, more than likely.
They're not find it.
Well, I'm sure Grandpa rearranges crap. That's why they're hugging the wall.
You don't rearrange the breaker box, though.
No, I'm saying, but that instead of going like straight towards it, watching out for the table over there, you're getting close. They're hugging the wall instead. Because I mean, the only thing you got to avoid is the electric panel where he runs electricity into his gadgets, but power's off. So,
yeah. Okay. All right. So, do you want to dive into the next one, or do you want to say any more feelings on this one? Because I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything more to say. It's just if you enjoy the family itself, it is a good episode to go into because there's no other no other characters. You just get pure family.
Family. Speaking of family,
nice napkin. Yeah,
I framed my napkin. And everyone can see it on Instagram at the MUNSTERCAST Instagram page. It's in the video. If you're not watching the video here, I texted Tivis after I did this, but I took an iron to my paper napkin to get the creases out of it.
Yeah, he says
all their faces perfect.
He says he's like, I was curious if it was going to catch fire or not. And I was like, well, and he just sends me the photo of it framed. I'm like, well, I guess it didn't catch fire then.
I was doing something that seemed like Grandpa or Herman or Lily would have done, just ironing a piece of paper.
I don't know if Lily is in that equation. Herman, yes. Grandpa, possibly.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, my wife looked. I showed her, and she's like, "That's what you wanted a picture frame for?" I was like, "Yeah." I literally went down to the Dollar Tree or whatever and picked a frame up for like $1 and just framed it. And as in the video here, if people are watching, you can see it's getting a lot of glare from my front door windows, so it's really annoying. But yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the next episode.
Yeah. So. That's such a dumb story. Herman's Peace Offensive. Season 2, episode 15, aired December 30th, 1965. The last episode of 1965.
Yeah.
Written by Doug Tibbles with Norm Liebman and Ed Haas involved. Directed by Ezra Stone, a name that we are all too familiar with. I have a feeling Ezra is going to take us to the end of the series. I do not know how many how many more directors we're going to have.
I wonder how many of these people stayed on moving forward in the movies, or the 2 movies that we got with these guys.
I know I recognize at least one of them, but we'll get to that when we get to it.
Yeah.
We got guest list. Chet Stratton. What a name. As Clyde Thornton. He was last in Lily Star Border and credited as Leonard's accomplice.
Okay, so one of the guys in the gang or whatever.
And also in Herman's rival is Mr. Haggerty. So Chet is someone we are familiar with.
Okay.
Brian O'Byrne as Uriah. Excuse me. He was last seen in Love Locked Out as Calvin. Remember that one? That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Jackie Minty as Jack McGinty. I can't make this up. This is his first acting role. Will return for a future episode, but only has 5 acting credits. One of them in A Big Hand for a Little Lady went uncredited though. So
yeah.
The other 2 shows that he was involved in was My 3 Sons and The Lucy Show. So My 3 Sons, once again, coming back. And Lucy, I'm pretty sure someone's been involved with Lucy in every episode we've watched. So here we go.
All like shot around the same. Did Lucy's studio, Lucille Ball's studio, were they behind the Munsters at all? I don't recall. Like I know they helped.
I think Lucy came
and shit like that
after.
No, because she came before, with like Black and White. That was the only thing at first. And then
51. Shoot. All right. I'm thinking of the sequel show then.
Yeah. Because she adapted into color. She started in Black and White.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm thinking of the sequel show then, which should have. Nope. Yeah. The sequel, which was I can't even find it. I know there was one though. It came back.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well.
That will be for our I Love Lucy podcast when we get to it.
Maybe. So, we get yet another Frankenstein opening. I love when they do this. They haven't done this in so long, and now we're getting them like, quite a few weeks in a row now.
Yeah.
So Herman's outside.
Wait, I didn't do the synopsis.
Oh yeah. Synopsis away.
Herman's Peace Offensive, December 30th, 1965, as Tivis stated. This is also the last episode in 1965.
Which I stated.
Which Tivis previously stated there. Herman advises.
Are you just writing these after I talk? As I talk?
No, I just read whatever is on here.
I know.
Herman advises Eddie to turn the other cheek when he gets pushed around by a bully. Then Herman is the victim of a practical joke at work. Grandpa takes the situation in hand by teaching both Eddie and Herman how to box. Which, I mean, Herman already knows how to box. Oh, no, that was wrestling.
Well, he was also teaching Eddie. Oh, wait, that's this episode. All right. So, yeah, as I said, we got a Frankenstein opening as Herman's just outside the fence, pulling up weeds, looking around. He like yanks off some of the metal prongs on the fence. What are those called? I don't know.
The what?
What are the things on top of the brick fence? The
spikes? The
Yes, I guess spikes. I thought they had a fancier name, but you could definitely tell they weren't actual metal.
they were supposed to be like cast iron, like rod. Cast iron.
Yeah. They have to have some kind of fancy, pretentious name to them. I just don't know it because I don't know. Then he just leaps over the fence entirely, begins creeping towards the door, looking around the yard. He gets this bush to the left of the stairs, starts yanking stuff out, looking around. Then he starts tearing up the bottom steps wood. And he looks to his right. Oh, there it is. It grabs the paper out of the bush.
Yeah. And it's just cast iron fencing, by the way.
Is it? Oh, yeah. Wow. That's Okay, of all the stupid things we name, we don't name those. Whatever. So yeah, and he's like, yeah, that paper boy never throws it in the same place. Why are you ripping up your stairs? He can't throw it under the wood.
Yeah. Oh, or they can be called spear fence toppers. Sorry. Yeah, so the newspaper he literally talks to the newspaper. And it's like he never put you in the same place.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So we cut to inside where Eddie is saying he's going to judo chop, smack him in his nose, twirl him around his head, and throw him in the girls' gym. He's furious about somebody.
Yeah.
Grandpa is like reading. He's, kid, will you shut up? But doesn't say anything. But
and not only that, jumps around and he's like, "I'll kill him, I'll kill him, I'll kill him."
Yeah, well, not yet. Well, no, he does that a couple times, so maybe.
Yeah.
Marilyn's like, "Well, who are you mad at?" And he's like, "Jack from school. He's a bully." And then he starts screaming that he'll kill him. So yeah, Herman walks in. He's like, "Did I overhear?" I have this verbatim. "Did I overhear my sweet little offshoot contemplating homicide?"
Yeah.
Grandpa says, if someone's bullying him, it's natural if he wants a little massacre. Yeah, it's no big deal. Calm down. Eddie continues to shout in anger where Herman's like, "Look, you need to relax and act like the sensible creatures that we both are." And then he's like, "Hey, Lily, did the post come today?" And Lily's like, "Oh, yeah. He threw it against the wall. And here's a package for you." So I'm like, have they not made up with their mailman yet? Or did they perhaps... Okay, here's my line of thinking. Is the mailman still avoiding them after the whole love potion thing? Or do you think he got on a different route and they just have a new mailman by now? A postal worker.
From like the first couple episodes?
Yeah.
It has to be a new guy. Right?
Yeah. It could be. You never know. My aunt's a postal worker, and we don't get along, but
because she's a postal worker. Jeez, Tivis.
No, because she's an insane woman.
They need more money.
Yeah. Well.
All right, let's go.
Herman reads the shipper, and he's like, "Oh, it's from Clyde Thornton, the new fellow at the parlor." So he begins opening it, and it's a little box. It says, "Press here." So he does, and it squirts him in the face with ink. Grandpa loves this.
Boxes like the boxes that my dad used to keep his D&D dice in and shit back in the day.
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah.
So now we just have a giant sack of dice, which mine was up there. I don't know where it went.
You need a chest. I'm gonna buy you a little nice wooden chest thing.
I got one of those for my comics.
Like a little one for like Herman has in this episode for your die.
Oh, I kind of have one of those. You can't see it. It's above the AC/DC album. Anyway, So Herman kind of just sits there for a bit, and I'll kill him. So we get him.
Did you?
Or no, I'm sorry. He begins talking angrily, and Eddie's like, "So what do you plan to do about it?" And Herman just sighs, and then starts jumping up and down, screaming, "I'll kill him."
Did you hear the line where Herman walks in? You might have said it. Did you see it already? Herman walks in and he's like, "Did I hear my sweet boy contemplating murder?"
Yeah, I read that.
Did you?
He said, I have it written down here exact. He's like, "Do I hear my sweet offshoot contemplating homicide?"
And then Herman, of course, going and saying, I'll kill him, I'll kill him, I'll kill him. That was I totally saw that coming. It's like,
Yeah.
like
Herman's got a temper.
Yeah.
So,
which we saw him do this recently too. Like before, they didn't used to say like kill, but now they've been saying it a lot. Like ever since the Star Border, I think it was, where he's like, I'll kill him, I'll kill him, I'll kill him, because he thought he was like trying to get Emily. Yeah.
I think they're pushing the F's. Maybe they weren't around yet, but the TV cops, yes, FCC. I forgot what the hell they were called, but so we cut to Grandpa telling Lily, "It's like, look, Eddie needs to let loose on this bully," and Lily's like, "No. We're Eddie's parents. We're going to handle it," which I'm sure a lot of people have done to their, their parents or aunts or whatever else. Like, look, no, this is our kid. Back off.
Yeah.
As you know, a parent, you would know. I was hoping you would jump in there, but so Grandpa's furious they aren't raising him like a Dracula. He's like,
I haven't had to worry about my kids like that, so I don't know.
Well, no, but you haven't had people telling you how to parent your kids.
Oh, I don't listen to people when they talk, when they start to say anything.
That's what I'm saying. That's what Grandpa's trying to do here.
Like, no, I just whatever. Like even my in-laws, I'm just like, okay, you're from the old country. Shut up.
The old country.
I'm married to the offspring you raised. Trust me, I know what not to do then.
Yeah. She says,
I love you, baby. I'm sorry. I love you, honey, if you hear this.
I'm trying to get you out of trouble here. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. I was just going to go for a comment. So she's like, this isn't like the old country. Over here, we have a board of health. And then she proceeds to light the candles with the switch that we saw that she did when the robbers were hiding out in their house.
Well, she was lighting them with a lighter or something, like a flame. And then she went over there and dialed it up, which is, I guess, lets the gas come out more.
It makes no sense. And I think that was the final straw for those robbers as well. I'm pretty sure that's what broke them. They're like, no, okay, we've had enough of your ordinary life.
Yeah. Well, clearly they're gas like things, because one of the flames shoots up a lot higher than some of the others. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
But regardless, I'm glad that they brought that back. I've said it before. I love continuity.
Yeah.
So they're sitting down for dinner. Herman's like, "What are we having?" And Marilyn's like, "Oh, it's fish," and she pulls it off, and it's like this fish with its mouth open facing him. And Herman's
wide mouth bass or something like that is what they call it.
Something like that, yeah. I'm not a fisherman either, so. I don't drink. I don't do fish.
What are you?
A lot of people ask me that. So Herman's staring at
what it is, largemouth.
Yeah, Herman's staring at this largemouth bass just facing him, and he decides to have a little fun with it. He's like, "Hello in there," and it echoes back, "Hello out there." And he's a little startled by this development.
I'm like, is there a little guy inside there?
Yeah. It's fresh. Yeah.
That
good
one
use of slang.
That one bass did not look like it would feed all of them, by the way.
No, it doesn't. So Lily then fixes a bib around Herman's neck. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
With a baby on it, by the way.
Yes. But it's huge, so it's not.
It's a big baby.
Yeah, it makes sense. You don't question it. So she's like, "Are you going to talk to Eddie about the bully?" And so he's like, "Look, if the bully comes at you, you need to just ignore him. Just to keep in mind that no matter how many times he strikes you, he'll become a better citizen for it.
Yeah.
So Grandpa is like, no. What you need to do, or I'm sorry, Grandpa says, well, what is Eddie supposed to use for teeth in the meantime? And Herman looks at him. He's like, shut up. And Eddie's like, so what about Clyde at the parlor? You know, are you going to follow your own advice for that? And Herman's like, yes, I'm going to set the example that you're looking for. And Eddie's like, okay, I'll go along with it because I want to be just like you when I grow up. I'm like, oh, that's a sweet moment.
Lily goes, oh, and she's like, oh.
Yeah. She praises, Herman for his good qualities and, thinks it's great for Eddie to aspire to be him.
Yeah.
Then Herman goes to cut the fish and it snaps at him. It was like, maybe it's a little fresher than I thought.
I do want to point out, if your kids are ever having these issues at school, well, one, I mean, nowadays everyone just calls the school and complains and bitches about it anyways, whatever. But you should teach your kids self-defense tactics, not just punch in the face, self-defense, so you can stop from getting hit in the first place.
Yeah. I know it's hard to tell from a guy who's doing a Munsters podcast for fun, but I was, pretty bullied pretty bad in school. And I got that to stop by breaking the guy's nose.
Yeah.
All it took was one punch and he left me alone.
Yeah.
And then I saw him years later because he went to the same high school that my wife went to back when we first started dating, and I ran into him in the parking lot. And of course, he made fun of some of the weight I gained, and I said, how's your nose doing? And he just drove off. That son of a bitch. So yeah, I know what Eddie's going through, and I actually went to multiple schools throughout my childhood, and I got made fun of it. Every single one of them.
Try going and living in the town I lived in and going to a school in the upscale area.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing was, the town I lived in was like the ghetto-y area, blah, 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 whatever. But yet I was going to high school in a town where it was like rich kids who bought all their drugs with their parents' money and drove their convertibles and stuff like that. So it's like, I was like, they tried to make fun of me because of the way I dressed or talked and shit like that. And because of where I was from. So my nicknames were like Shady or Slim or like 8 Mile and shit. Like, I was like, are these supposed to be offensive to me? Because one, they're not. And two, I'll just kick your ass if you're really think I'm like from that era or that area. Mm-hmm. Why would you start making fun of somebody like that? Like that doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, it was fun. Stupid times being a kid in school and being picked on and shit like that. So I feel for Eddie. I do. I had more like growing up in the family I grew up in. That's all we did was picked on each other and beat each other up and shit. So going out into the real world, we were prepared for it already. and with my kids, like they don't have to worry too much about that stuff, but I have taught them like self-defense tactics and ways to subdue a bully, to not necessarily hurt them, but to make sure they're not going to be able to hit you, with different wrestling, grappling tactics, like actual wrestling, not pro wrestling that everybody thinks of. Even though you use some of those submission moves too, but more submission moves than punching them. Because if you leave a bruise, then I guess their parents can try and come after us. If you just hold them down until the principal comes out.
My dad wanted to enroll me in karate, and I didn't want to do it because that would take time away from all the books I was reading to be the nerd being picked on.
I got kicked out for breaking the kid's arm because he kept kicking me in the ball.
God,
he kept kicking me on the balls on purpose. So, yeah, And that was like way before high school. So.
Well, some kids deserve it, which we'll get into after in a bit. Getting back to the show, though.
Yes.
At the school,
lesson from us
little anecdotes.
Tell us a bit.
At school, we see the bully Jack comes out and he sees Eddie standing there waiting for someone to pick him up. I'm guessing, even though we've seen him walking home.
Yeah.
He then asks, hey Eddie, I want to ask you something. He's like, no, I don't want, I don't want a fat lip today. The bully's like, well, what if I just hit you in the eye? And he's like, nothing.
Yeah.
Like, if I smacked you in the eye, you wouldn't do nothing. This is becoming a common thing. Stop with the double negatives. Stop it. I am terrible at grammar, but good Lord, stop it. Okay. So Jack then calls, he's like, what are you, yellow? And he's like, no, I'm green. It's like, my dad says I just need to ignore you.
Which,
like, well,
they're not green. They're actually like a light blue.
Blue, yeah.
If you can see on the DVD.
Mm-hmm. And in the pilot and even the recoloring we saw, they also made them,
like a pale light blue type color.
And he's like, my dad just told me to ignore you. And Jack calls Herman a dope. And this sets Eddie off. Jack's like, look, next time I see you, I'm going to rip off your nose, put it on backwards so you sneeze out your brains. God, this kid is violent. He's going to grow up to go to jail for sure. So then we go down to the parlor where Clyde is laughing hysterically to his coworker that we find out is Uriah about the ink he sent to Herman, and Uriah's like that was kind of mean. Like, Herman's a really nice guy, and Clyde's like, no, he's just a big dope. He's like, look, I'm booby trapping his locker now. Wait till he comes in. And Herman walks in, says hello to Uriah and then Clyde. And Clyde's like, hey, just what?
Oh, go on.
Clyde's like, did you enjoy that package last night? And Herman's kind of hesitates before it's like, yeah, it was a surprise. All right.
Yeah.
Herman is really, really trying to restrain himself.
Very annoyed. Very annoyed.
So he opens up his locker and gets a boxing glove to the face.
Which he had to bend down really far to get that in the face.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. Otherwise, it would just hit him in the peck. And Clyde's laughing hysterically, and Uriah looks kind of sad before laughing because Clyde looks at him, and then Herman begins laughing awkwardly. You just tell he's contemplating murder right now.
Yeah. The thing is too, we'll see here and later the other impractical joke that he tries to play on Herman. Those are not practical jokes. Those are bodily harm. They're not jokes. It's actual harm. So I don't know what they thought a practical joke was back in the 60s.
Yeah.
Because as we see, I have a note for the other one. I'm like, that's no.
Yeah.
Anyways, so then we go back to the house.
Yep.
And Lily and Grandpa are in the kitchen making dinner.
No, Lily offers to warm Grandpa's tea up and then pours fire out of her kettle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Throw her kettle, man.
Yeah. And she's like, I wonder how Eddie's day went. Then Eddie comes in with his back to him, not looking at them, kind of sliding through the room. And she's like, how'd it go? And he's like, I ignored the bully like Dad said. Well, how'd it turn out? He turns around. He's got a black eye.
Yeah.
Lily is horrified, gets out a steak for him to put over it. And she is mad about Herman's advice. And this is where I get mad at Lily.
Eddie's black eye, hold on. First of all, is really bad. It's like, it looks like he got punched a few times, kicked a few times, and hit with a bat in the eye, no pun intended. But like, it looks like he just got his ass kicked in that one spot because his eye is messed up, man.
Yeah, and it's his left eye, I should add.
Yeah.
That's important. And I'll tell you why I get mad at Lily in a bit, because her character is very inconsistent this episode.
Yeah.
So,
well, they always do this whenever Herman does anything. He's always, it's always his, the one who did wrong. She's
pissed at the advice that Herman gave him. And Grandpa's like, look, what you need to do instead, sink your teeth into their neck.
Haven't we dealt with a bully situation already before with Eddie too?
Twice, I believe. Yeah.
So,
because there was that episode where he grew a beard, and then another one where he was like slow.
Yeah.
Slow and running.
Yeah.
Then
Herman walks in.
Yeah. He's got sunglasses on. He's like, Lily's like, look, you're an idiot. Look at your son.
Yeah.
And she's like, what are you going to do about this? And Herman's like, are you going to do something about this? And Herman's like, you're darn tootin' I am. He takes his glasses off, revealing his black eye on the left eye, I might add, even though he was punched on the right.
Right. Yeah.
He's like,
I was like, wait, he wasn't on that side, was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, after dinner, we're going to reevaluate my philosophy. Then he steals the steak from Eddie to put over his eye.
And then this is where they do him and Eddie and Grandpa do the boxing.
Yeah. Herman is teaching Eddie how to box here.
Yeah.
And Herman punches a hole in the wall, and Grandpa's like, what are you doing? This is my stop it.
Yeah. Like, all right, let's go over to the punching bag. And Grandpa's like, what happened to a normal punching body?
Body? Why can't we use a real body? All these substitutes all the time. But after Herman punches the wall, though, he loses his glove. And I wonder, did it just get stuck as Fred's pulling his arm back? And he's like, I'm just going to pretend that I meant to do that.
Right.
So on the punching bag, too, is a really bad drawing of Jack. He's like, hey, remember how angry you are at him? Wail away. So Eddie starts letting loose on this punching bag as Herman's holding it. And Herman's like real pleased with him. He's like, okay. Why don't you go over there and relax a bit?
Yeah.
Leave some for me. So he spins it around, and we get a real creepy drawing of Clyde. And he begins punching it so it swings wildly around the room. And might I add, Eddie has been removed from this scene with how wild it is swinging, because they were probably worried about him getting hurt. Because when he's done, all of a sudden, you see where Eddie is sitting as well. And it's just empty during this. And then at the end, you see Eddie sitting there still. Like, hey, come over here, Butch. Get out of the way.
Yeah. Definitely got to keep him safe for that one, because it was crazy. Like the thing was just swinging all over the place. And then it snaps off and like hits.
Grandpa's like, he's like, you got to pick up some speed there. So, and Fred, the look on Herman's face, you could tell that Fred was just having fun in this scene.
Yeah.
So he stops and he starts walking away. He's like, what'd you say to me? He gives it one final good smack, breaks it off the chain, and it goes flying into Grandpa, breaking some of his potions behind him. And Grandpa is really not happy about this. If he wasn't happy about the hole, he's real mad about getting hit.
He was startled too. It's just like, what the hell?
So Eddie's about to leave for school, and his black eye is gone, I will add.
It's not gone 100%, was it? I thought there was.
Yeah, it's just gone. In this scene, it was not visible. So Lily's like,
it's like a vampire werewolf. It just he has faster healing than us.
Yeah, that's plausible. Lily's angry with him because he didn't wash behind his points, which they do a lot of bad substitute jokes in this.
Mm.
Just say ears. This one got to me. Like, why change it? It's not a good change.
Because we don't all have pointy ears unless we're Vulcans or Romulans.
They're still ears. So Herman tells Eddie, like, hey, remember what I taught you? And Lee's like, Herman, you better not be encouraging Eddie to fight. I'm like, what do you want from him? You got mad that he tried to tell Eddie to be a pacifist. Now you're getting mad that he's telling him to stick up for himself. And Herman's like, no, of course not. We only fight when we're provoked. Wink. So
no, Eddie goes, okay, keep going.
All right. I love this. This scene, it popped for me. Jack begins harassing Eddie at school, and Eddie's, are you provoking me? Jack, huh? So, if you say it again, you will provoke me. Huh? It's like, okay, you just provoked me. And this is about deadpan delivery, and it fits his mood of being fed up and angry so well, just from my experience. And I was so joyous when he just decked that SOB.
Yeah.
But then he goes a little crazy, apparently. Jack's surprised. I thought your pop told you to ignore me. And Eddie responds, yeah, he taught me to ignore you in a new way. And then laughs like Herman and walks away to begin a reign of terror.
This is a
new age Freddy.
This is I'm trying to think of a word to say that's not. He's just crazy. Okay.
I mean, you get pushed to a point, you snap, and
that's not okay.
No, it's not. I snapped on the wrong person as well, and I felt bad about it. I apologize to that poor guy.
Especially in school settings, snapping is not okay.
No, find a good creative way to deal with your anger. I've learned that a lot in the past decade alone.
Punching the punching bag should have been enough for him.
Yeah. And even if that's not it, go work out. Obviously, that's not the case for me, but working out helps a lot. Riding your bike. I love riding my bike when I have one. I finally have one. I can't wait to ride it. Writing, just meditating, whatever helps. Like, not letting it out immediately as a reaction is not a bad thing, but keeping it bottled up for too long will ruin you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it can cause you to react in a more extreme way, which sucks too.
Yep.
So, no, I love that he did this. He got his revenge punch back in. I would like to have seen the bully afterwards with like a black eye or something like that.
Because we know Eddie's strong as hell.
Yeah. So, and he punched him and he flew back. Like he flew far. He must have that vampire strength, man.
That werewolf, it was mixture. Yeah. And Franken guy.
There's no Frankenstein in him at all.
We don't know that.
Just a little Lily.
Now we get Herman's time to be provoked. At the parlor, Clyde is setting up a new joke, which involves pouring water on the floor and tying an electrical wire to his door locker to get 120 volts of electricity. Is Clyde trying to kill him?
120 volts is not a fucking practical joke. It's not even an impractical joke.
No, I'm fairly certain Clyde is just trying to get rid of the competition because Herman got a promotion and Clyde wants to rise in the company quick.
Yeah, because Clyde is, I don't know if we said this, but he was like a new employee.
Yeah, he's brand new. Uriah is like, look, are you sure you want to be messing with Herman? He's a big guy. And Clyde's like, hey, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And I'm like, if he falls on you, dude, you're gonna feel it.
And we hear 2 cars crash outside.
Yeah. So they go and look.
As they jumped up to look and stuff too, like I thought he was jumping up to hide above the lockers, hoping like Herman wouldn't see him there, just so he could have a better seat. But
possible, yeah.
And as he looks out the window, he sees Herman there. He's talking to the people. He's like,
yeah, he just walks out.
Hold on. The guys in the car bolt.
Yeah, he's like, here, let me help you out here. If one of you could hold my lunchbox, and then like,
so then he picks up one car and then he pushes the other away and drops them down. It's like, there, clean streets. That's the importance here.
Yeah. Yeah, Clyde. Yeah, you're right. Like, still plan on going through your joke there. Yeah. And Clyde begins scrambling to take it apart. Outside, Herman's just talking to himself. He's salivating to be provoked. He's, oh, I can't wait. I'm gonna punch this. So Clyde is still struggling to undo the trick as Herman comes in, and Herman's like, hello. Clyde's like, hi. And Herman's like, come closer and say that. Wiggling his finger. And he gets like the meanest face I've ever seen Fred do with this character, even in those scenes that are meant to be really freaky, where he's like approaching on the guy with a net or staring down at the cop through the hole.
Yeah.
So, and Clyde's like, no. So Herman then notices the wire going from the light to his locker, which how could anyone not see that?
Well, before it wasn't set up as it is. It was up higher, hidden out of the way. The only reason he could see it now is because he was trying to disassemble it.
Yeah, all right, I'll give you that.
At that point, just unplug it from the damn light fixture that you plugged it into first. That's all you had to do. You know. Also, I don't think 120 volts would have done anything to Herman because, you know.
Oh, he loves electricity.
It might it might do like the whole Iron Man thing. It just give him a power boost.
Yeah. Isn't that what it did in that audio thing you posted on YouTube?
I think so.
Yeah. Because he sits down in Grandpa's chair and they turn it on.
Yeah. So yeah, like Herman is like, what's up with this? What's going on?
What's this?
And the guy's like, oh, it was just another practical joke I was going to play on myself.
Yeah.
Like, well, why is it on my locker then, ass? Like, come on.
Herman, he goes over there. Is you just step in the water and you pull the handle. And he falls on the ground, and Herman's like, real confused by this interaction. This is not going how he was thinking at all.
Yeah.
He's like, look, get off the floor so you can provoke me and I can knock your head off and then go out for coffee.
Like, did you hear me? Did you hear what I said? And he's like, get up. And then he steps on his feet like a rake.
Yeah, raises it like a rake.
Lifts him up in the air. And then grabs him and he's like, then that's when he like pleads for his
don't
life.
Hurt me.
Like, I have 4 kids.
Everyone's like, no more jokes.
Yeah.
I won't do any more jokes on you, I promise. And everyone's like, he's happy with it. All right, shake on it.
Yeah.
So he goes to shake Herman's hand. And he's like, and Herman's like, I got you. He's got one of those hand buzzers.
Yeah.
He's like, he starts jumping and laughing. He's like, I'm the bully now. You like, no, Herman, no, wrong life lesson. No. And it's funny because the start of the episode, he talks about how him and Eddie are so much alike.
Yeah.
And they are.
True.
They go mad with power.
Except he didn't like beat the crap out of everybody at the funeral parlor. Like,
no, not yet, at least. Uriah got the hell out of there. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Then we go back to
the house where Lily is throwing fruit into a bowl for a tossed fruit salad.
like full pineapples, full melons, a
she's
can
like
of freaking
stirring them
peach.
even, and
like she put a can of peaches in there. I'm like, you didn't have fresh peaches either. Like,
yeah, this is another joke that didn't land with me. I'll be honest. I don't.
Yeah, this was kind of a lame one for me because I was just like, wait, I don't like, because we've seen them eat their meals. There's no way they're eating like that. It didn't make sense. So I bet like as Yvonne was doing that, she was like, what the hell are we doing, guys?
Yeah. But Herman is then, Eddie is telling Herman and Grandpa about his day as the phone, you hear a phone ring in the distance, and it's real subtle, but it's there.
Yeah.
And Herman then begins telling about how he dealt with Clyde and does this and buzzes himself. And he's like, oh, I'm going to bully Clyde so bad. And then he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to beat up all my classmates for good measure. And then they notice Lily is in the doorway.
Yeah.
And when they notice her, she tells Eddie, go to your room. She's like, Herman, I want a word with you. And Grandpa tries to flee, but gets stopped in his tracks. And she's like, you're not going anywhere. Lily, we saw a little bit last episode, but this episode, you really see the fury of a Dracula in Lily. As she
goes and tells him, first she tells him, of course, he was beating the crap out of like all of his classmates.
Yeah. Eddie's principal just called. He beat up 2 kids today. She's like, no violence, and backhands Herman. Oh my God.
Yeah, she continues to go say no violence. And she hit him that time. He gets up, and then she does it again.
Yeah, you need to fix this because we will not have brutality in this household. Uppercut.
Yeah, she went all Amber Heard on him.
It's not going to go over too well with some people.
It's a joke. Come on.
I know. I'm just saying.
Make jokes regardless of what you believe or whatnot. Not believe, whatever. You know what I mean?
She then tells him, I need you to stop hiding behind the sofa when I'm talking to you. And he answers with the only thing you can do in a marriage situation where you're in a fight you can't win. Yes, dear.
Or as I learned yesterday, I could just ask for my sock.
You didn't get your freedom, though.
I didn't get my freedom. For people who don't get that reference, I went
Harry Potter.
I became Dobby yesterday.
So at breakfast, Grandpa is eating upside down for some reason.
Yeah.
Marilyn asks if Herman walked Eddie to school that day, and Lily's like, yeah, he's teaching him that if you hold your head up high, people will step aside for you. And then we cut to Eddie's like, boy, you were right. When you hold your head up high, people get out of your way quick. Yeah. And as like, see, I don't understand what this lesson is supposed to teach Eddie, but as they walk away, there's cars crashing all around them, bodies lining the road, and somebody climbing a light fixture. And that's how we close the episode.
Yeah. I wasn't sure what was supposed to be happening, if they were just like scaring these people.
Yeah. They're terrifying them into getting distracted and basically causing a massacre in the street.
Which Herman walks around all the time. But on to what Lily goes on about when she's punching Herman, domestic abusing Herman. She's like, no violence. We've literally talked about Grandpa killing people.
She was getting ready to kill a bear because she thought Herman was cheating on her with
it. Oh boy. And this isn't the first time that she's hit Herman.
She beat him with a stick.
Yeah, she beat him with a stick. She punched Herman before when he was in the one house with the other girl, and she thought that he was.
Oh yeah, that's right. She knocked him out cold. I forgot about that.
She's abusive, man. It's all there. It's all on tape too.
Yeah, in her defense, he's an annoying idiot, but she married him, so
that's what I remind my wife. I'm like, you married me.
Yeah, I remind my wife that's it.
I'm the smart one here. I married you, but you married me.
I married up. You settled. Yeah.
That's how it is for every couple, though.
It seems like we just get lucky to find someone who just tolerates us.
Oh, it's a good thing my wife likes dumb movies and stuff like that. That way she likes me.
Yeah. So this was a crazy episode. Yeah. I don't know what the moral ended up being.
Don't bully people, otherwise you'll turn them into bullies. Maybe
don't become the bully. I don't.
Well, if Eddie didn't fight back, at least to the one guy, anyways. Yeah, I feel he would have just kept getting bullied.
Yeah.
So there comes a point to where you have to stand. Like, look, if my kid came home with a black eye like Eddie did, I would tell him to go beat the shit out of the kid. Like, fuck, like, sorry. That's a whole nother thing. But it's like, no, that's ridiculous. Ridiculous. I said ridiculous. I don't know. It's just crazy, like, to think.
Ridiculous.
Like, for the moral of this story, though, I think it would be more so. I don't know. I honestly don't know what they were trying to say.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
I guess, bullies get what's coming to them.
Listen to your wife, even if she's,
doesn't know what she wants you to do.
Yeah. She's like, teach him not to fight. Teach him to fight, but don't teach him to fight. Just teach him to be good. I can't do everything. Anyway, just wait till you have kids. It'll be a fun one for you to deal with. You can raise them as Herman.
I would probably be one of those parents that would try talking to the school first if my kid was being bullied. And my exact words would be, my kid is going to end up punching this other kid. When I get called back down here for that, I'm going to let you know I'm taking them out for a celebratory dinner, no matter how much you punish them, because having been the receiving end, sometimes they're just pieces of shit children that other parents aren't disciplining.
I would totally do that too. Like, I would tell my kid to go and do it if they, did it again. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I would warn the school. I'd be like, look, if you guys don't fix this shit, because in the end, there's not much I can do from at home.
Yeah.
Besides tell my kid, hey, don't fight back. If I tell you not to fight back, they're going to get picked on again, like Eddie did in this. If you tell them to fight,
and it can get worse sometimes too, depending on how deranged the child is.
Maybe that's what I don't know what this episode is trying to tell us, but it has to say something.
The only thing I would say differently than Herman is, it's good to defend yourself. Don't go on the offensive. Don't unleash your anger.
Don't look to be provoked to fight.
Yeah.
And I've always told my kids, I was like, look, don't hit them until they hit you first. That's self-defense. Unless and you can stop from being hit without hurting them back too.
Yeah.
Put them in a full Nelson if you need to. Like, after
watching this episode, do you see why Nick at Night removed it from syndication?
So this is the episode they removed?
Yep.
Okay.
It was for excessive violence or promoting violence. I'm sorry.
Did it promote violence?
Herman told him to deck a kid.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah. It's a confusing one.
At the same time, he was being hit himself. And it's not like he told him to deck him and we didn't see Eddie with a black eye before he went and fought again. it was like, no, we saw the repercussions of Eddie, ignoring it and letting it slide.
Yeah.
And then he got to that point where he got to go and fight back.
It really felt like Doug wanted to tell something, but maybe it got a little muddied with the producers along the process and they ran out of time.
Maybe. I honestly thought that the kid was going to be the son of the guy that Herman was.
I did too, especially after he called Herman dope.
Yeah.
Because we've seen that before with the hot rod racer guy.
Yeah. So I was just curious about like what they were. Yeah, I don't know. Man.
Listener, let us know what you think the moral for this episode was, if you think there is one, because this is a confusing one. I didn't hate it, but I will say it's not one of my favorites.
Yeah. I can see also too why they might have canceled this episode, or quote unquote canceled this episode, because child violence, domestic abuse.
That wasn't a reasoning given by the Nick and Night manager, but yeah.
Electrocution as a practical joke isn't very funny, because what if some kid saw that and went and tried to electrocute somebody?
Yeah. Okay. I forgot about the locker thing. I'm like, well, the buzzer was harmless. I've done buzzers before. Yeah. My dad and I used to mess with each other all the time with those. He bought a pen just to mess with me. You click it and it zapped you. But yeah, no, the hooking up the electricity to the locker and then making them stand in water. Wow. Yeah, that's rough.
Okay, I can understand it a little bit more as to why, possibly at that time period, especially why they would have pulled it and shit. So
yeah.
Okay.
In the beginning, a little bit of trivia. I'll go ahead and just bump right into this. In the beginning, what Grandpa's reading is the Transylvania Gazette again. So, continuing with that.
Yeah.
And at some point in this episode, Ark League-Letter is mentioned, which for those of you who don't know who that is, Art is well known for a segment called Kids Say the Darndest Things during his 1952 daytime The Linkletter Show. And in his time of hosting that, which many of you may remember Cosby doing it, he interviewed 23,000 kids during his 27-year run. So he's the guy who started that.
Okay.
Yeah, just a little fun fact. And that's all I got, other than it got removed, which I teased last week.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I'd like to hear of some of our audience members what you guys thought of this episode, like the moral of it, possibly, if there is one, because it kind of like contradicts itself throughout the entire episode, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I know some of it's for humor's sake, like Lily saying no violence and hitting him and stuff. Like, I understand.
Which, I'll be honest with you, I didn't think too much of, because I know for a fact my grandma beat my grandpa a few times during their marriage, but he was stupid and did really dumb things like cheating. So, but you know what? When you marry the girl you get into bar fights with against bikers, you gotta have to expect some stuff. Yeah. My grandparents were wild. This is the same woman who came up with the Long John Silver, or forced Long John Silver to come up with their travesty. Oh God, I missed them.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed this episode though. Like, regardless of what their actual meaning was, it was cool to see more Eddie. Because we got to see him do some more stuff. And then it gets muddled, honestly, because between this episode and the other episode we already talked about this podcast, like, I loved it when it was just the family, because we got build on top of what we're already doing. And then now with this episode, it was cool, but it wasn't as good as the first one we talked about, because I didn't feel like we were learning anything new about them or the house or anything like you previously said, whereas the other one we did. So of the 2 episodes, the first one we talked about would be my top one for this specific podcast episode. But yeah, I would love to hear people's opinions about this specific episode, since it was canceled from TV and everything like that back in the day. You can email us what you thought or comment or anything like that at all of our socials at TheMunsterCast, and the email is TheMunsterCast@outlook.com. All the links and everything else are also in our descriptions wherever you're listening and or watching, guys.
And also let us know what you think of the trailer. Shout out to Chris, who has already spoken to with us about not seeing Eddie and Marilyn, which is disappointing, which mirrors exactly what I was saying.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen that. I've been surfing through some of the Munster groups right now and seeing that a lot of people are like, well, where's Marilyn and Eddie? So it might be.
Again, we know Pat is in the movie. Butch has not been announced as far as I know. We don't know who Pat is playing. It's like, just tell us.
What if, because in this teaser that we just watched, the only thing that's said is Grandpa says, well, what do we do now? What if it's
maybe it's them moving
out? No, the kids moving out.
Oh.
And now they're like, well, shit, now what do we do?
Yeah, possibility.
That could be pretty interesting story. Again, that all speculation on our part, our fan thoughts and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. I want to just tell everybody, because I do make some stupid jokes on the show, by the way. I don't believe everything I say, by the way. I make jokes to make jokes because I find them funny. Kind of like a Ricky Gervais. I just say shit because it's funny to me.
He's covering his ass.
I am covering my ass, yeah, but I just find it funny to me. Like, a lot of people take jokes and they automatically assume that it's how you live your life by. It's not. They're jokes.
I had a little rant. You can have your own too.
So yeah. With that all done and said with, Tivis, you got any final words for us this episode, since it's been a long episode, I think.
Yeah, this is a pretty long one. Don't use a double negative.
Don't not use a double negative.
I will find you in Florida. Florida man.
Shall not you use the double negative. All right. With that said, guys, thank you very much. And again, we appreciate everybody tuning in every Munster Monday.
We really do.
Yeah, we really do. With that said, guys, we will catch you next time as we take another stroll down 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
The lesson I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be tall or short, or fat or thin, or ugly, or handsome, like your father. Or you can be black or yellow or white. It doesn't matter. What does matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character.